When you think of psychological thrillers that crawl under your skin, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle 2025 definitely earns a spot near the top. The remake of the 1992 classic doesn't just reimagine the concept of obsession and revenge. It injects it with deeper layers of trauma, class conflict, queerness, and generational guilt. What begins as a seemingly simple story about a nanny who turns out to be dangerous slowly morphs into something darker and much more tragic. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. So, let's break down The Hand That Rocks the Cradle 2025. Its shocking ending, the twisted history between Caitlin and Polly, and the chilling implications of its final moments. Caitlin versus Polly, the perfect family torn apart. Caitlin seems to have it all. A loving husband, Miguel, two adorable kids, Emma and Josie, and a beautiful home that screams domestic bliss. But underneath that polished life, cracks are starting to show. Caitlin is exhausted, trying to juggle her career and motherhood, while Miguel isn't exactly pulling his weight. That's when Polly enters the picture. At first glance, Polly seems like a dream come true. She's kind, attentive, and has that natural warmth that makes her instantly likable, especially to Emma and Josie. But the more time she spends in Caitlin's home, the more things begin to feel off. Strange accidents, weird tensions, moments that make Caitlin second-guess her own sanity. And every time Caitlin tries to point a finger at Polly, she ends up looking like the unstable one. Polly's manipulation is so subtle that by the time Caitlin realizes she's being gaslit, it's too late. Polly has already wormed her way into every corner of the family, emotionally, physically, psychologically. And Caitlin's perfect world starts falling apart piece by piece. The past returns. Jennifer and Rebecca. Now here's where the film's brilliance lies. The backstory that connects Caitlin and Polly. They're not strangers at all. In fact, they share a horrifying past that explains every single thing Polly does. Caitlin's real name isn't Caitlin, it's Jennifer. And Polly? She was once Rebecca. Years ago, in San Bernardino, Jennifer accused Rebecca's father of sexually assaulting her. But when the man wasn't convicted, young Jennifer took justice into her own hands, and she set Rebecca's house on fire. The fire killed Rebecca's father, mother, and sister. Rebecca barely survived, but her entire family was gone. Everyone knew Jennifer was behind the tragedy, but because she was a child, her name was changed, and she was sent away to start a new life. Jennifer became Caitlin, Rebecca became Polly. Two little girls scarred by the same monster, but one was protected by privilege, while the other was destroyed by it. The paths they chose, their lives couldn't have gone in more opposite directions. Caitlin grew up to live what seemed like the American dream. A nice house in Los Angeles, financial stability, and a picture-perfect family. But Polly, on the other hand, was left to rot in the aftermath of trauma. According to Rosanna, a member of Polly's AA group, she was an addict who had been beaten by an abusive boyfriend and lived in poverty. Rosanna helped her get the nanny job, lying that Polly had previous childcare experience just to give her a chance. But here's the kicker. We can't even be sure if Polly's story of hardship was true. Was she really a victim of poverty? Or was she playing the long game to infiltrate Caitlin's life? It's deliberately left ambiguous. Polly might have even fabricated certain details, like her supposed girlfriend Amelia, who might have been a plant, a way to provoke Caitlin, to expose the suppressed parts of her identity and jealousy. Whatever the truth is, Polly's motive remains clear. She wanted Caitlin to suffer, not through overt violence at first, but by dismantling the illusion of her perfect life, piece by piece. The breaking point, Stuart's death. Things spiral out of control when Caitlin's best friend, Stuart, uncovers the truth about Polly's past. He finds out who she really is, Rebecca, and learns about her connection to Caitlin's childhood. But before he can expose her, Polly kills him. That murder marks a turning point. It's the moment Caitlin loses control completely. Her fear turns into rage, and the confrontation between the two women becomes inevitable. When Caitlin lashes out, Emma, who's grown attached to Polly, tries to defend her. In the chaos, Caitlin accidentally hits her own daughter. That's the lowest point in Caitlin's journey, the moment she realizes Polly has succeeded in turning her own family against her. Caitlin is forced to leave the house, humiliated, heartbroken, and emotionally shattered. But her maternal instinct and guilt drag her back, and that's when the story explodes into its devastating climax. The final confrontation, truth and blood. Caitlin returns to talk to Polly, who's now fully moved into her home and practically taken her place as mother and wife. This scene is drenched in tension, a mixture of grief, anger, and twisted empathy. Caitlin knows Polly's real identity now, and she's torn between guilt and defiance. In one of the film's most haunting moments, Caitlin reveals that Polly wasn't the only victim of her father's abuse. She tells Polly that her father had also assaulted her, and that when he did, he'd often talk about how similar the two girls looked, even saying they could have been sisters. It's a revelation that reframes everything. Polly and Caitlin weren't just tied by trauma. They were victims of the same predator. Caitlin might have killed that man, but she also killed Polly's mother and sister in the process. She destroyed everything Polly had left. It's one of those tragic situations where both women are victims and villains at once. But instead of leading to forgiveness, the confession pushes Polly over the edge. She stabs Caitlin, unable to process the mix of betrayal, grief, and anger. Caitlin, bleeding but determined, fights back and manages to stab Polly in return. It's messy, emotional, and deeply tragic. Two broken survivors fighting to the death, not out of pure hatred, but because their pain leaves them no other choice. The death of Polly. After being stabbed, Polly tries to chase Caitlin one last time. Caitlin grabs Josie and tries to escape in her car, desperate to end the nightmare once and for all. But Polly refuses to let go. She jumps onto the car's bonnet, smashing at the windshield, her face twisted with rage and sorrow. It's as if she's trying to break through, not just the glass, but the emotional barrier that's kept them apart since childhood. At that exact moment, Miguel and Emma arrive home and witness the chaos. And just when it seems like Polly might get inside, fate intervenes. A speeding car from the neighborhood slams into Caitlin's vehicle. The impact sends Polly flying through the air, crashing hard onto the asphalt. Caitlin and Josie survive the crash. Polly doesn't. Her body lies on the road, bleeding, motionless. And in a moment of gut-wrenching empathy, Caitlin holds Polly in her arms as she dies. She cradles her head, whispering softly, almost like a mother comforting a child. The circle of the film's title, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, closes in the most ironic way possible. The woman Caitlin once destroyed now dies in her embrace. The aftermath, the calm before the unease. The story jumps forward in time, maybe months, maybe a year. Caitlin is healing, both physically and emotionally. Her hand, wounded during the fight, has scarred over. She sits quietly by the fireplace as Miguel assures her that everything will be fine, that their family is safe now. But is it? Because when Caitlin asks where Emma is, Miguel says she's with Josie, and that's where the final chilling twist unfolds. Emma sits with her younger sister, telling her a story, not just any story, Polly's story. The one about how she used to eat tuna straight from the can like a cat because she couldn't afford mayonnaise, lettuce, or bread. Emma repeats Polly's words almost lovingly, as if keeping her memory alive. Caitlin doesn't realize it yet, but the ghost of Polly still lingers, not literally, but through Emma. Polly may be dead, but she has succeeded in planting her worldview inside the mind of the next generation.
The legacy of Polly, a win beyond death. So what does Polly's legacy really mean? It's not about haunting Caitlin, it's about influence. Even in death, Polly's ideas and personality live on through Emma. Her class awareness, her empathy for the less privileged, and maybe even her queerness. The movie heavily implies that Polly made Emma question the world she lived in, the comfort, the privilege, the unspoken hierarchies her parents took for granted. For a child raised in luxury, that's a radical shift. Emma's fascination with Polly's stories shows that she's internalizing those lessons, perhaps even more deeply than Caitlin realizes. It's also symbolic on a more personal level. Caitlin's, who once tried to suppress her bisexuality and her trauma, now has a daughter shaped by a queer, outspoken woman like Polly. There's a poetic justice in that. The idea that the very things Caitlin tried to erase from herself are now being carried forward by her child. In a twisted way, Polly wins. The themes: trauma, privilege, and the cycle of violence. At its core, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle 2025 is about cycles. Cycles of trauma, class disparity, and generational guilt. Caitlin's childhood trauma leads her to commit a horrific act, which in turn shapes Polly's trauma and vengeance. Both women are victims of male violence, but instead of uniting against it, they destroy each other. The film also critiques privilege in a subtle but powerful way. Caitlin's wealth, whiteness, and status allow her to rebuild her life after the fire. Polly, meanwhile, gets left behind, forced to navigate addiction and abuse without any safety net. Even their queerness is contrasted. Caitlin hides hers for social acceptance, while Polly embraces hers unapologetically, using it as both weapon and truth. By the end, Caitlin loses her illusion of control. Her family may be intact, but her daughter now carries the ideology of the woman she killed. And that's the film's cruel irony. You can destroy a person, but you can't kill an idea. The tragedy of two survivors. What makes The Hand That Rocks the Cradle 2025 so haunting is that it refuses to paint either woman as pure evil or pure good. Both Caitlin and Polly are broken survivors. Both are shaped by abuse. Both crave love, and both are haunted by guilt. Their final confrontation isn't just a fight. It's a tragic collision of two lives that could have been sisters in another world. When Caitlin holds Polly as she dies, it's not forgiveness, it's recognition. Recognition of the pain they share, the innocence they lost, and the reality that they were always connected no matter how far apart their lives went. That image, the abuser's daughter cradling the victim's daughter, is the film's final, painful statement on empathy and inherited trauma. Our nerdy thoughts. So what does The Hand That Rocks the Cradle 2025 ultimately leave us with? It's not just a story about revenge, it's about how trauma mutates over time, infecting everyone it touches. It's about how privilege allows some to heal while others are left behind. And it's about how even when you think you've buried the past, it finds a way to live on, sometimes in the most innocent of places. Polly might be gone, but through Emma, through the stories she tells, and through the quiet unease that lingers in Caitlin's perfect home, her spirit endures. The hand that once rocked the cradle might be dead, but the cradle itself still rocks, carrying her legacy forward into the next generation.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.